Angie Girl! It's been a hot minute since I talked about things and also drew them, so happy Pirate Week! About 3 weeks ago, I took a sudden interest in pirates when the Mariner's Revenge song by the Decemberists got so wedged into my head that it showed up in my dreams being misquoted by a certain character of mine. I wanted to extend this 3-day-long interest in pirates, and then when I went to post the image to DeviantArt, I found that I really wanted to read up more about this AU. And I'm the one who made it. So for the next 2 weeks, I had a Pirate Week. Naturally, I needed to draw the first pirate I had established in this Pirate vs. Merfolk timeline. This is Jessans, alternatively named Sammy, alternatively named a cringe Undertale OC that stuck around and is no longer cringe. I made a lot of fusion characters back in 2017, but I never got rid of any of them, and now this quote-unquote series is called Fusions of Pippina specifically because of this. I also made way too many AUs at the time and treat them all like spin-off series I work on once in a blue moon. I promise you there is a point to all of this. I just have to figure out what the heck I'm doing. For now, consider it like the same characters are in a different setting. Pirate Sammy's design was heavily based on Undersail Sands. As in, it was literally just Undersail Sands, which is why I've changed a few things about it. I decided against the bandana on the head, but around the neck is pretty cute. I never really liked the hook hand thing, and if I didn't like it, I don't know why I used it in the first place. Sammy is what you might call one of those pirates who don't do anything. Originally, he was supposed to just be a guy on a boat, but then I realized I forgot about his designated best friend. Before you call me out for that, you try managing over 30 characters. I haven't really written that guy into the main story quite yet, since it's kinda supposed to be before he joined the main group, but hey, half the appeal of having so many spin-offs is that I can give underused characters more of a spotlight. So yeah, instead of a guy on a boat, it's 2 guys on a boat. Neither of them are very smart, and that's what makes it funny. Meanwhile, a pirate who is smart and does do something is Rusty. In vanilla, he's the still-type gym leader of Oxford City, but it turns out that pirate is a good job for someone who has a condition that makes them compulsively steal things. Since he originally lives in a scrapyard, I thought it would be funny to set him up on a garbage barge. He's very defensive about it being called a garbage barge. It's a scrap collecting boat, thank you very much. This is somewhat useful, however, as Oxford City doesn't actually exist in this timeline because the area around it is a lot of low, flat scrubland that easily got flooded. Anyway, his ship is called the Scrapper, and that is the best possible way to tell you that her captain is really into steampunk. Rusty's interested in it in vanilla, and now he's a pirate with mechanical skills and way too much time on his hands. Will used to work with him on the ship when he was younger, and eventually moved out to go be a lighthouse keeper, and I like to think that in the few years between them seeing each other, the Scrapper went from a barge with some cannons to a full-on floating base of operations. At this point, you're probably wondering when I'll do world-building stuff for this, right? Well, have you ever heard of what TV Tropes calls anachronism stew? Or maybe it's purely aesthetic era, I don't know. The point is, I don't care. The golden age of piracy has some really cool vibes, but I don't want to commit to this being the 1700s, so I said screw it. Pro tip, if you're ever having self-esteem issues when it comes to something you're working on, just saying screw it and doing whatever you want might potentially help. Will is our unwilling main character who's all too aware being the protagonist can really suck. He would much rather just be that smart character everyone goes to for advice and then just kinda stays out of the way most of the time. Sadly, everyone needed him so often that he achieved main character status by accident and really wants a break. Lucky for him, this is the one timeline where he actually gets that. Originally, as in like 3 years ago, he was some kind of marine biologist who wanted to study and prove the existence of mermaids, but the story moved away from that and now he's a lighthouse keeper. I really don't see him as a sailing man, but Lighthouse has some thematic appropriateness, and I know for a fact this was subconsciously based on that one version of the Will-O-Wisp myth where some guy named Will gets lost in the woods and fades away until the light from his lantern's all that's left of him. So yeah, due to the lamp, Lighthouse Keeper, seems good enough to me. I also spontaneously decided that he's living about 200 years after Rusty. One is in the 1740s and the other is in the 1940s. Okay, so technically the golden age of piracy only lasted from the 1640s to the 1730s, but you know what? Screw you. You thought it was the 1800s too, didn't you? See, as someone who gets unreasonably upset by historical inaccuracies, this was my way of telling myself not to stress about what is basically just a silly cartoon. The only logic I'm going by is that I'm doing this all for fun. How did this happen in universe? I don't know. And so comes the end of Pirate Week, a little bit late. I'm a little disappointed it's over, but I am counting this as part of Mermaid, in my own way. Also late. While you're here, I should also probably mention I actually have commissions open, so check the description for details if you're interested. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for now, so as always, leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section below, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, people! And happy Pirate Week! And also Kaijun. realized this is now the start of kaiju. This was subconsciously based on the one version of the Will-O-Wisp myth, where a guy named Will gets lost in the woods and fades away until all that's left of him is the light from his lantern. I was running out of breath at the end of that line, so I should probably re-record that.